Hello, it's Simone. Welcome to my channel. I am here with the October 15th Stuck Sketches sketch. I am working with this and I picked out this paper from Studio Tectorec that was in a kit from Studio Calico in 2014, I think. I am working with my stash for my October sketches, obviously. So when I received the sketches, I looked at the shape of the photos and I went through my box of photos that I have printed but didn't get to use. So this photo I actually wanted to use with the On a Whim collection, but I was just so tired of the collection, so I put it back into my box of photos. And now I looked through it. I thought, well, this could work. And then I went into my stash and looked for papers. And I saw this one and I thought, well, this would work really well with that photo. And so I decided to try and find other supplies that would work with the photo, the topic, and the sketch. So I pulled out 6x6 paper pads. I had the On a Whim paper pad from Amy Tangerine, and I also bought this paper pad. This is also a Studio Calico from I think, did it say Darling Deer maybe? That I purchased at the my local scrapbook store. They have a yard sale twice a year where you can sell your old scrapbooking supplies, and I really liked the color scheme of that 6x6 paper pad, so I bought it just to find out that the person who sold it purchased this paper pad at Tuesday morning, and I paid so much more than the person who sold it to me. So I didn't buy any this time around, but yeah, you live and you learn. So I went through all of my embellishments and looked for colors that would work and for items that were visible on the sketch. So there was this frame, and I found two frames. The chipboard frame from the Maggie Holmes Bloom collection. This is one from last year. And another one that I don't know even where I got it. It's an acetate frame in gold, and it says "So Happy." I wasn't sure if I was going to use both of them or one of them. I just pulled them out and, yeah, played around. And you will see later on that I will actually end up using both. Now, the sketch calls for paper on top. And since I only pulled this 12 by 12 paper, I decided, well, I'm not going to go into my stash. I'm just going to use what I have pulled, and I just used washi tape to stick two strips together. I cut them a bit wider than I wanted to use them, stuck them together, and then I trimmed them at an angle because the bottom, no, I can't talk. The top strip was at an angle. Wow. It took me 5 minutes to tell you that I cut it at an angle. And then this is the only border punch I own. So when I saw the scallop, I was like, man, another scallop. I'm just going to put down strips. And then I remembered, well, I have a notebook punch. And since this is about school, about an award my son received at awards night last spring, a notebook punch would be absolutely perfect. And yeah, so I'm still working on the layers behind my photo. I love layering papers, not in a straight way, but a little bit crooked and off center, to create a little bit more dimension and to make it, yeah, not straight maybe. Yeah, not straight, right? So this is where I'm at right now. And I actually like that So Happy underneath the picture. So I'm going to be using both frames, or yeah, frames. But you won't really notice that the So Happy was a frame. And then I bought a Studio Calico warehouse sale box. And if you remember my last Stuck Sketches video from October 1st, I should have learned from the experience then, back in Germany when I bought my very first warehouse sale box. I shouldn't buy warehouse sale boxes and just buy things I really want to have. But I think every one of us has done these things where we bought stuff because it was cheap. Now, well, and I received like 15 of those packages with the A plus flare button. And so I made sure I used it here because it actually made sense. And now I'm stuck. So the sketch calls for a tag there. And I didn't like the tag, the cream tag that I had. I don't have very many tags to begin with, but I didn't like that. So I didn't want to cut a tag from pattern paper. So I decided, okay, well, let's work on the title. So again, this is something that I had in my stash for the past 3 years, which isn't long for a long-time scrapbooker, but it is long for me since I started scrapbooking 4 years ago. No, well, it's 2017, and I started in September of 2014, so it's actually 3 years. So I had this in my stash since the beginning of my scrapbooking career, and I haven't really used it. So, but I recently purchased one Distress Oxide ink pad because I have heard someone else say that they would actually stamp quite crisp images, and it's true. And I would really love to do some mixed media with those. And so I bought I think it's Broken China one, to just test it out. And the color worked perfectly here. And so I thought, why don't I just use this with the alphabet that I know is this resist. There is this resist strip in the middle of each letter. And yeah, so I used some packaging and stamped the Distress ink pad on the packaging, added some water, and dipped my letters through there. And the title, even though it's quite short, it spells English, is actually pretty long on this layout. So I really need a longer strip than I have already created. And I'm actually not in love with the strips. So I go and grab some craft foam because the chipboard frame doesn't reach underneath the whole picture and I need to bring it up to the same height. So since I don't know what to do, I just do what I know. So okay, I take out the strips, I add the foam, and then I lay out the title. Now I grab labels. Those are printable labels that you can download from Caitlin Schaefer's blog. If I don't forget, I will link her blog in the description box below. And then I think maybe I can do something with those labels. And then I have an awesome idea. So the tab, is it a tag? It's a tag. The tag on the left in the sketch is something I can do. I don't have to do it. And it is supposed to house my title. Since my title is quite long, I decide, why don't I just interpret the tag as a paper strip? And what would be better than to just repeat the dark pattern paper from the top there where my title is going to be and where it is housed. And especially since the title is so long and I make this strip stick out on the other side of the photo as well, it just looks more balanced. And if you think of it as a beam of wood, this wouldn't wood construction wouldn't hold if the beam would stick out so far on the one side. So I need it to be balanced, and so I need some of this to stick out on the other side. And now I'm just gluing everything down finally, and I'm measuring where the strip is going to be, and I want the photo to be framed by those. There is several writings on the pattern paper background. It says one says, "Oh, happy day," and the other one says, what fun," stuff like that. And the photo cluster fits right in between two of those, and there is like a hole reinforcer on one side. And I don't want this. I want this to be framed. So that is what I'm going to do. And I also don't want the pattern paper strip to be aligned with one of the lines that are on the pattern paper. So that is what I'm working on right now. And then I'm also repeating those notebook paper punch strips, just to bring in the pattern and tie it all together. And I really like the way this looks now. Then I'm just gluing it down and committing to this. It took me only 11 minutes on video, but even longer in real life. So this process took me about an hour, and I think like an hour and 15 minutes. And please, if you are a regular YouTube watcher, tell me, is a scrapbooking process video of 15 minutes too long for you? And especially, where would you want me to cut the stuff out? Do you want it to sped up even more? This is ×4 right now, and I can hardly keep up talking with what I'm doing. So please let me know, where should I shorten the video? If it should be shorter, because I don't know. I would rather have my videos to be between 10 and 15 rather than 15 and 20. But if this is something you don't care about, then I won't fret about this. Now, placing the flare. I decided I wanted it there, then I committed, and then I decided, no, I don't want it there. Then I took it off and just rubbed the glue off, and luckily you won't notice. I looked on the chipboard piece and I found this pinwheel thingy, and even though it doesn't fit with the whole topic of the layout, I think it works perfectly there, and it helps balance the whole layout. Then I realized that I had this asterisk that I wanted to have on my layout as well, but I hadn't colored it, so I colored it and placed it on the bottom of right edge or corner of my photo. And then I'm working with the label. I didn't like the way the small dark paper strip looked over there, because it wasn't very visible on the left side because I housed my title on it, but the right side was very dark, and so I added this label. But then I added tiny word stickers, and then you won't notice. So I put down my tiny word stickers straight, except for the place where I have the flare, there where I'm now adding those huge, what are those? I'm missing the word, and it's so easy. I don't know, those dots. And I'm very surprised because I actually managed to put down 3 of those enamel dots. Now I found the word. Those enamel dots in 3 clusters. When I received them in a kit, I was like, what am I going to do with those huge enamel dots? They are almost as huge as those hole reinforcers that are printed on the pattern paper. And then I decide, no, I don't like the crooked word strips on the left side of the photo, and I take them off and one rips apart, so I have to replace it. And because I liked it better straight. Since I'm moving on to my journaling in just a second, I will tell you a little bit about the photo. So there is an awards ceremony at my son's middle school every year, and the students are invited to receive an award, but they will not know what award they receive just until they get called to the front. And when my son received this letter, we thought that he would receive the math award because that is his strong subject. We were so surprised when he actually received the English Language Arts Award. And yeah, so I had to journal about this because that is what makes this award so special. And then I'm only adding the date on top there. I'm double stamping, and here is the sketch that I started my layout with, and here is my layout. Thank you so much for watching. There is a couple of close-ups. We would love for you to join us this month and create a project based off this sketch. Be sure and link it up to Stuck Sketches for a chance to win a prize from one of our sponsors. There is a couple of more process videos on screen right now. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I will see you next time with my next Stuck Sketches process video on November 1st. Until then, bye!